Hello, my name is James Harris, and I'm 34 years old from El Paso, Texas. And I put a few of these videos of these intruders in my mother's yard. They constantly been jumping into the yard late at night, and they show up. I haven't noticed them steal anything, but then I call 911, and as if the El Paso County Sheriff Department acts kind of strange with me, because they show up. They tell me they don't see nobody, and then they leave. Right after they leave, there's another person, whoever it may be. I know it's more than two, who jump into my mother's yard late at night, constantly. And it's been happening for too long. Excuse me. And even right now, as I was laying down in the living room, I heard somebody jump. Not jump, but just, I heard like a cat scream or something. And I look out and I see somebody, but they hide as if they have military training or some type of police training. So I started believing that it's possibly the sheriffs themselves. But I can't say for sure because I would imagine an officer would come to my door and knock like normal people. And then I even got a charge of 911 silent or abuse. I started feeling as if I can't depend on them. And who do I depend on? Because I live alone here with my mother. And we don't have no weapons or any type of way to protect ourselves. And they even, at one point, shot 4 rounds in front of our home and ran off. They lasted 2 hours to respond on my 911 call. And when they showed up, they gave me a charge of silent or abuse, 911 silent or abuse, which is not right. And I constantly, even tonight, I made a report with the state troopers for the simple fact that somebody keeps jumping in my brother's yard. It's as if I constantly hear them and they'll disappear. The only reason why I make these videos is for my precaution of whoever these intruders may be. And I saw how they, even at one point, try to make me look like if I'm the crazy. Like if I was seeing things or hearing things that aren't there, when I know what I see and I know what I hear. And this has been happening too long. And even right now, as I speak, I had some individuals, but I look out and nobody. I don't see nobody. As if these intruders continually keep jumping in my mother's home, in the yard. And I would imagine if they were here to steal, there's only 2 ladders and a barbecue grill that we have. Who's out there? Identify yourself. And I make these videos because I go live because I make it as a precaution. I noticed them at one point also. I noticed them at one point. They they go in that white trailer in the back, that abandoned trailer. Who's out there? I don't know if you could see it, but it's a white trailer. And it's abandoned trailer that I noticed certain individuals hide out in there as if they watch our home. And I just get tired of certain individuals late at night jumping into my mother's home. Who's out there? Who's out there? So that's the reason why I make these live videos as a precaution of these individuals who keep jumping into my mother's yard. I called so many times that they at one point made it seem as if who's out there? They try to make it seem as if I was hearing things or seeing things that aren't actually there. Who's out there? That's why I go live on these videos. To show that I am not crazy and I know what I see and I know what I hear. And sheriffs, they show up and try to make it seem as if I'm possibly having delusions or seeing things or hearing things that aren't there. When I know what I see and I know what I hear. I made several reports. As if they don't care to see it my way, as if I'm not serious or try to telling me if I take medication when it has nothing to do with the situation that I have at hand. I even made another video when these certain individuals, they sprayed some type of liquid on top of my mother's home one morning. I thought they were just messing with me. But what I can't stand is how they respond to my 911 call and don't take the proper steps the way it's supposed to. Like when they shot 4 rounds in front of my mother's home, they didn't even ask me, well, where did you see those individuals? How many gunshots did you hear? Did you see any people? How many did you see? Did they run or did they have a vehicle? They didn't even go looking on the ground for the rounds. And it's strange how every time I would call 911, it was always those same two deputies that would always show up. And that day that they shot 4 rounds in front of my home, thank God they shot them towards the air, not towards my home, and then ran off. They took 2 hours to show up. Nobody waits 2 hours when he reports on a 911 call. And then they show up and arrest me in a way that wasn't right because I wasn't resisting and I wasn't being a threat to them or anyone around me or myself. I didn't throw any rocks towards them or I didn't disrespect them in any way. As a matter of fact, I was sitting down on the ground. It's just since I noticed that they showed up 2 hours from when I called, and I kept calling them back after 20, 30 minutes passed. I told them from about 100 yards, I told them, you know what, never mind, keep going. I called you 2 hours ago. And they looked at each other. There was 3 of them. They said a few quick words to each other and then jumped the fence when we had it chained up and locked. They jumped the fence, I guess because they got mad because I told them it's been 2 hours. They came towards me and I was sitting down on the ground. They turned me on my belly. They turned me on my belly and shoved my face in the dirt. They shoved my face in the dirt when I wasn't even resisting. On another time when these intruders were jumping into my mother's home, they I called about 2 times that night, and one of the officers tells me to go back inside. If you hear something, ignore it and go back to sleep. I told him no. How the hell am I gonna do that? How the hell am I gonna ignore somebody that's outside of my home that shouldn't be at 2, 3, 4 in the morning? No officer should tell that to a person at any time. And then they started, at one point, I started seeing how they try to make it seem as if I'm crazy or that I'm having delusions of somebody that's there that's not there, or maybe I was hearing things that aren't there. And they put an EDO warrant out on me. Like right now, I heard somebody on the fence in the back gate just right now. I noticed how they showed up, they gave me an EDO, took me to this hospital called UBH. And then I got out, and then I noticed this again, and then they did it again. When I wasn't a threat to myself or a threat to nobody either. And as if they were trying to make me seem as if something that I'm not. I'll call them because there's somebody jumping in the yard late at night, and they'll look at me and tell me, well, did you take your medication? I'm like, what do you mean medication? I don't even take medication. I'm 34 years old, and in all my 34 years, never have I taken any type of psychological meds or any psychological illness do I have. I told them I know the purpose of a 911 call, and I know why it's offered to the public. I'm not gonna be calling you, bugging you at 2, 3, 4 in the morning for nothing. And this constantly been happening. tired of this because they continually don't stop. They continually don't stop. Who's out there? And they could say that I'm crazy or that having delusions, but I don't care who it is. I know exactly what I see and I know exactly what I hear. And it became constantly like every single night. Then when I call 911, they'll show up and say, well, nobody's here. Well, of course not, nobody's here. I called you 30 minutes ago. When they only take about 10 here in the East Montana Vista area in El Paso, Texas. My name's James Harris and I'm 34 years old. And I live alone right here with my mother. And that's what got me worried that I don't own no weapon, neither does my mother. And these deputies, I tell them, they should take every single 911 call seriously. Whether you think or believe that individual or think that he's having delusions or lying, you still should take that report seriously. Because what the fuck are they going to be doing in my mother's yard at 2, 3, 4 in the morning at night when we only have 2 ladders in the barbecue grill to steal from? I noticed how they would eavesdrop at the windows and spy through the windows, listening to us or watching us sleep. I don't know, what is it? And I bought a camera to record them. But what I didn't know, I needed a DVD recorder to record them. And I told the sheriffs, I guess that's my best bet, right? That way I can, next time if I have to call you because somebody's intruding in the yard of my mother, I can show them proof and show them evidence. It's just been too much because I'm at home where one's supposed to be safe at his safe haven, his place where he rests, his family. And it became a problem because at night I can't even sleep sometimes because they're jumping in the yard and they do it as in a laughing manner. Because they'll jump in, and then they'll leave when the cops arrive. They'll jump in, and then they'll leave. They'll jump in and then they'll leave when they hear me call 911. And then as if they're watching the sheriff show up, when the sheriff leaves, they jump in again. Like if they're trying to make me look like if I'm crazy. At first I would hear them under the trailer on the side of my home. At one point, I believe they were even either throwing things on top of the roof or actually walking on top of the roof. And they're real intelligent. That's why I started to believe that they have military training or police training some type. Because they hide out real easily and quick. And every time I call, these certain deputies will show up. I even started feeling as if I don't care if somebody says that I'm paranoid. I noticed that as if they were intercepting my 911 calls too from my phone. Because I would call and the dispatcher would tell me that those are the only two deputies. I told her, no, you send me some other deputies, not those same ones, because every time they show up, either they show up an hour late, 30 minutes late. They don't show up in a timely manner that I believe is right for the East Montana Sheriff's Department in El Paso, Texas. Like that day they shot 4 rounds, they showed up in 2 hours. And I told the dispatcher, ma'am, don't send those deputies. She told me those are the only two. So I started recording them. Every time that they'll show up, I'll record them. Since I know that's my right. One of those times they recorded me and they took me in for warrants. I came out and they were deleted. They didn't have a warrant for my phone. They'll show up and they wouldn't take the proper steps, I believe. So I made 2 reports to Internal Affairs because I started feeling as if they're not taking my calls right or seriously. They're disrespecting me, but not only me, my family. And I'm no different than the neighbor. And I made 2 reports with the Internal Affairs because how is the dispatcher gonna tell me? How in the fuck is she gonna tell me? No, there's only those 2 officers working tonight. I told her, no, you don't tell me that. There has to be more than 2 deputies that are working on the graveyard shift every night. What if something happens to them and they need backup? I know there has to be 2 more deputies somewhere. She told me, no, right now they're on a call. No, actually, she told me that she was gonna send somebody, a unit. And I asked because I noticed how it was always those 2 individuals. And it became tiring. Because those 2 deputies, they came over here and did it like in a laughing manner, as if they'll leave. Those individuals will show up again right after they left. And then I'll have to call 911 again. And then they'll show up. The deputies, the same ones. And as if they were starting to get mad. Like, mad for what? That's your job. They shouldn't act like that with me. It's not right. And them, the only reason I say I felt like they were intercepting my 911 calls, because like that dispatcher, she was real rude with me and told me that there's no other deputies working tonight. So that's bullshit. How the fuck you gonna tell somebody that? Now I noticed on one of those nights I had to call again, and the same woman's voice answered. And I spoke to her, I told her the same thing. They didn't show up within 30 minutes, so I called again because they were out there, the intruders. And the dispatcher, I told her, it's been 30 minutes. And then she told me that they're on their way. I'm like, it's been 30 minutes, man. I know somebody's out there. Because sometimes I would even hear them, like if they would let me hear them loading magazines in my window, so I know they had a pistol. But they do it in a laughing manner, as in they'll let me hear those noises or those magazines, and then they'll run off. And they showed, after I told her that it's been 30 minutes, I told her, well, I heard these individuals with magazines close to my window, and I know how a magazine sounds when they're loading a clip in a pistol. I told her, you know what, ma'am? Can I please stay on the phone with you until the unit shows up? And the dispatcher, the same female's voice, told me No, I got another call. Wow, don't you have other operators? I told her. Because no dispatcher on a 911 call, you feel a threat, and you feel threatened to your life or for your family, should ever tell you, for any reason, that they can't stay on the phone with you until that unit arrives. Especially me telling her that I heard somebody in the window with a magazine loading. I can't say it to the deputies of the El Paso County Sheriff. I don't want to say that because I know accusing one could be a crime if you don't have any proof or evidence. But come on, they have to know what's going on. They have to be watching those who have been doing this to me. And I don't care if I look crazy or what, but I'm just trying to protect my family and mine and myself. And of course, I have to record these videos on YouTube as a precaution and even live. Because they're real, I could tell they're intelligent and they know what they're doing. I've even seen footprints that jump from my neighbors into my yard at night. On one of those footprints, this is the strange thing, there was even some footprints that I know I didn't step that were the same type of tennis shoes that I have. And I know I didn't because I didn't jump into my neighbor's yard and jump in over here into mine. As a matter of fact, I was looking out the window and I watched them. I didn't watch them, but I saw the vehicle. They park in front of my neighbors and then get off walking. Make it look like if it's my neighbor, but it's not. And if it's a investigation, I don't see why they wouldn't be like normal officers and knock on my front door. And it's just too much. I'm sitting here late at night making a video as a precaution because I know what I see and I know what I hear. But if I call 911, I notice how they're trying to make me look like if I'm the crazy or something when I know I'm far from it. I don't know why they're targeting me or my family. But it's just not right. It's just not right for them to be doing that. And I noticed when on one of these videos that I made, they sprayed some liquid on top of my mother's roof as if they were playing with me, as if they wanted to see if I was gonna call 911 again. As if they want me to keep calling and keep calling, for I could look like the crazy. I even had to go to my neighbors that morning because I thought that liquid might have been flammable. And as I recorded it, I checked the liquid and it didn't seem like nothing, like water. And all that night, it wasn't cold for it to get condensation on the roof. It wasn't icy, like to get moist, humid. And they hadn't sprinkled or rained. And then these individuals who my mother had got to, or her friend had gotten to put the tile Gave me a real bad vibe. For a simple reason, how they did the work, and then when I showed up when I got back, I went to the store with my mother, as if they did something to the home where the water boiler started going off, and then my mother's heater. So I checked the breakers, and half of the trailer, with the breakers off, the lights were still turned on. But it was strange because after I waited a while and turned them back on and then off, and then they went off. And outside on my air conditioner, they had on the filter that we have, I noticed the wire that was going from the water to the air conditioner. And I know that if it's not the El Paso County Sheriff Department, it must be some type of other agency. Because I started believing that they're agents of a higher branch, not only of the El Paso County Sheriff Department, but I know they should know who these intruders are. Well, anyways, I'm sitting here in my room because I notice how these individuals, they don't seem to stop. I notice how they're seriously trying to make me look like if they want me to keep calling 911 on them. Like if they're laughing at me. And I'm over here in my room trying to sleep. And fuck yeah, they could make one look crazy, but that's why I know they're real smart. Because they'll hide in the shadows. Or even in my neighbor's trees. When I go out and call 911 as if they hear me and they're gone. So anyways, I had to make 2 reports to the internal affairs. Because it made me feel real uncomfortable how they speak to me and show up and tell me, have you taken your medication? I told them, you're not a doctor. And even if I do, it is irrelevant. It has nothing to do with what I'm calling you for. If I'm calling you for a reason. I'm not gonna be wanting you to be over here late at night, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, telling me to go back inside, go to sleep. If you hear something, ignore them. You have someone's at your home jumping into the yard late at night, would you ignore them? As if they don't care what the fuck I say or care of who we are. Anyways, it's sad, and it might sound paranoid, but it is sad because I start to feel as if one can't depend on the law. Then who in the fuck do you depend on? On a 9mm 357 Magnum? When I don't know, no pistol, no rifle. And then one time I called because one of those nights that I heard these intruders, I started getting a real distinct odor of LP gas in my kitchen. And it was one of those same nights that I had just called. So I called and I told them, I think I might have a gas leak. Could I get someone that works for the gas company late at night to come in? And the officer, he came into the home. His name's Deputy Salty. I know him from when I was younger. He's a real good cop. A real good deputy. I liked his attitude. But the only thing this time that I didn't like is that he showed up. He asked my mother, "Did you smell any gas?" My mother said no. And I told him, "I do. That's why I called, not her. And if there's a gas leak, it's important for you to go check it. But with a gas, somebody that's certified." He said, "Well, the only thing we can do is go inside. If I don't smell nothing, gotta leave. I can't do nothing." He came in, he said he didn't smell nothing. And I told him, "Could you get somebody that's certified?" And he didn't. He told me, "No, I don't smell nothing." I'm like, that doesn't mean that I do. I just want somebody that's certified to come and check it. And then when I noticed that day too, when I called the 911 dispatcher, it was the same female. And she told me that I'll get an officer out there. She didn't even tell me. You take whoever's in there, your family, and go to the street. Because that's what they're supposed to do. If there's a gas leak and there's a possible gas leak, the dispatcher's supposed to tell you, get everybody out the home, go to the street, and wait in front of the street. See, little things like that I noticed. And it was the same 911 dispatcher. It sounds crazy, but they're intercepting my 911 calls. It's a big area over here, and I know there's more than 2 deputies that work the graveyard shift. There's a few deputies that, when I would call, as if they right away know what I'm gonna tell them, and they know their answer for me. And it's always for them to say, "There's nothing. You can't do nothing. Okay, bye." And I bought a camera to put up. I told them that's my best bet. Record 24/7. I just need a DVD recorder. That way I could show them proof. I told them I believe there's some individuals who hide out in the back in this abandoned home, some African American that used to live there. Because I seen them through the window, and I mean, as if they look from that abandoned home towards here. And I told one of the sheriffs that night, one of those nights, told him, "Could you go and see? Because I know for a fact that there's somebody those individuals, they also come from the backyard, and as if they hide out in that trailer." And I told one of the officers, one of the deputies, he just smiled and took off. I told him, "Please go and check it right after you leave. Just to see, or cruise by at night to see you see anybody, any youngsters going in or anything." And then I went to the backyard and I waited to see if he'll show up, and nothing. I'm like, what the fuck? I even told him that I had a feeling, and I believe I seen somebody through the window pointed with a possible assault rifle towards me. Now, if me and my mother are in the backyard and they're pointing an assault rifle towards us, I mean, what the fuck? I don't care if they say I'm paranoid or whatever, but I ain't got no enemies. I ain't got nobody to be out here. The only reason I started to believe that maybe it's more than just the El Paso County Sheriff's deputies, that it might be a higher branch, some type of agent, was because at one point I would sell marijuana with a couple friends. I will admit that. But I mean, why? If I don't even carry or sell to the whole neighborhood. And also, I believe it might be an agent from another higher branch, possibly, because I notice how they have high technology. They have state of the art technology where they could hide out from far away, but I see the lights. And then I started feeling real weird because sometimes I'll get like these shocks from my feet to my, like through my body with the electronics. I thought it was the electronics, the TV or the cell phones. They'll give me these shocks like towards the body. I'll feel it like an electric shock. And I even had to, when I noticed the liquid they sprayed on top of my roof, and I was recording it too. It became like a yellowish goo on the corners. And I told my mother, but my mother's tired. She always goes with, started believing what the deputies, like if the deputies persuade her, oh well, the sheriff tells me, oh well, your mother didn't see nothing or hear nothing, and I tell him that don't mean nothing. She's asleep at these hours. Plus, she didn't call 911. It was me, and they persuade her. Like one of those calls, started. They pulled her to the side, and I heard them. I was recording that night, and I heard them speaking. On the video, you can't see what they were speaking about. And I told the officer, you could speak to her right here. Ask her whatever you need to ask her right here in front of me. He's like, I'm talking to her, not you. Okay, well, you feel more comfortable. You go if she wants to. But then I was listening and I heard how he was asking personal questions that were way irrelevant to my 911 call. And I told him those questions are irrelevant. You don't ask my mother those things. That other deputy, the one that always shows up, he's a sergeant by the name of Harrison. He's a real good deputy too, but I just noticed how his attitude towards me just isn't right. That's why when I made those messages on internal affairs, I can't say with evidence that it's them doing that to me, jumping into my mother's home late at night. But I know they have to know. They have to know who it is. Just like right now. I literally heard them again. Now, who in the fuck do I call? I even had to leave a message because of those shocks that I was feeling throughout my body. I believe it comes from my mother's home. Like if they shoot me from far away, I was reading about these weapons that they could shoot you from far away. They're called EMPs, like an electromagnetic pulse that they can shoot from 2, 3 blocks down, or two, 2 or 3 houses down. But I'm not sure because I would feel them, and I'll feel it all the way to my head, like a shock. Well, anyways, tonight I called the state trooper and I had to leave a message with him because I felt like if I called the El Paso County Sheriffs, they're gonna come up, show up, and then say there's nothing or nobody. And there goes another one on my record that I called for nothing. No, I called for a fucking reason. Because there's somebody in my mother's yard, in our home and property, who's fucking with my family. Another reason why I say they're possibly higher ranking branches, like an agent, because there's not only that, because they're technology, but they're swift, they're quick, they're real quick, and I don't have any fucking reason to be like this. I know sometimes they're listening, and I would tell them whether they're there or not. If they're investigating, why don't they knock on the door like normal people, like normal officers? Why don't they knock on the door like a normal investigator, whoever you may be? I even told myself to a certain point, because I even saw one time. I took pictures and I saw how they placed these dummies, these mannequins. They placed them somewhere for I could see them and make me believe that it's somebody. And then in front of my neighbor's home, I saw also one of these individuals who's working there pull off one of those dummies, those mannequins, from the back of his truck. And my back neighbor, I know him, or I knew him, it's a couple. I haven't seen them no more. And I've seen a lot of vehicles that I don't know, that I don't recognize. That's why I feel like if they're all around, and who the fuck do I call? If they're officers of the law or agents of a higher branch, they should be like any other and come, knock on the door. But I got that feeling because I saw some, like they were putting mannequins or dummies. I saw one of them that was across the street, and I saw one that they placed in my home. I guess they saw them, they put them there for me to call 911. When they hear me call 911, they move that mannequin, they move that dummy. And they want to make me look crazy. But it's strange because I know something's going on. But every time I call them, even if I show them something that I find, like these strange rocks, when I went to the hospital, that they took me on one of those ED warrants, around my home, my mother's home, and under the trailer, I found these certain type of rocks that are shiny. They have shiny particles in them, and it ain't no type of gravel that we had here before I left. And I brought it to one of the deputies' attention, and all he told me is that it's nothing. It's just a rock. What could he do? I guess. But I told him, look, it's different. It, Somebody else gave me an opinion. They told me that it looks like some type of mining rock, like from the mines. And then I noticed how they started throwing a lot of like trash. Not a lot, but I noticed some bags here and there. I thought they were just distractions, for I could go pick them up late at night when I would see somebody or think that somebody's there, and then I'll see these little straws too, how they'll throw them to distract me. And then one of my dogs, because I used to have three of them, disappeared one time. I think somebody stole him or took him on purpose. Because he was a not a mean dog, but he would protect his territory. think they even got rid of him on purpose for them to sneak in easily. Now, I've even felt like if they are agents or sheriffs, but they have someone else that they know that isn't an officer. That's why I believe that some of them are crooked. Some of them are crooked. Well, anyways, I started recording them because I know that's my right. And boy, they didn't like that. I would record them. And at one point, not even without them knowing. And at one point, I know I even saw him on the roof. You know. And I mean, my mother's 64 years old. And I'm 34. And I believe somebody. Who's out there? Who's out there? Even right now, I heard something. Identify yourself. And then on my fence, I noticed how they unhooked the sides too. They unloosened the nuts. And it's just me and my mother who live here. It becomes too much. Look at me, I'm late at night looking up like a crazy, just like that. I'm tired of it. And I noticed this liquid that they sprayed on me. It just doesn't look right on my mother's home. You need to tell me. You hear something? Then why don't you call the sheriffs? Well, I'm tired of calling the sheriffs. That's why I called the state troopers today. Made a report. What's even stranger is that first week that I went to the UBH. I came back and my mother's attitude, because I know her well. She has a heart of gold and very good spirit. I noticed how when I came back after that week of being in that hospital, UBH, I noticed how attitude had changed in a way. I started feeling as if somebody might have been talking to her, threatening her, or harassing her. It sounds crazy, but I know my mother, how she is with me. And I started feeling as if somebody might have even threatened her or harassed her in a nice way. And she doesn't admit it to me at all. She don't admit it to me, but I mean, I know something that she notices is going wrong or going on. Yeah, at one point I was thinking that it was these certain individuals that I know, so-called acquaintances, old friends. There's only been 3 that I led into this home in the past year. And I even told them not to be coming around. I don't want nobody. Because they started acting strange. Well, yeah, I'm in my home and I'm being myself. And I feel like if they sometimes eavesdrop as if they my windows listening or peeping toms when I know that is illegal also if it is an officer or an agent. Even if they're investigating, that is also illegal. They can't be spying like that. And we live in a mobile home. What if, which I'm sure, I know they have pistols. They know where I sleep and my mother. They could be right there with a rifle or a pistol. And that one time when my mother, when I noticed her attitude change that first week I went to UBH that they took me on that EDO, I felt like if it was more the sheriffs, not her, that took me on that warrant. Because my mother wasn't complaining about me like that. They showed up because I kept calling 911. And just because my mother didn't hear or see what I said I heard and saw, they assumed right away that I was having delusions. And I told them, just because my mother was asleep and didn't see nothing, that doesn't mean I'm lying. So what I was thinking to cover up their asses for that 911 abuse that they arrested me in a wrongful way. They didn't have a warrant to jump my fence. They didn't even have an EDO, but they didn't even have a right to arrest me like that because I wasn't resisting and shoved my face in the dirt when I was sitting down already. It took 2 hours on my 911 call. Well, anyways, they told my mother, they asked her, did you hear anything or see anything? And my mother said no. So to cover up their asses that day they arrested me, they pulled out an EDO warrant because 2 hours passed and I told them to leave. They got mad, I guess. Why would they try and do that? Because they're trying to make me seem as if I'm having illusions or maybe seeing things that I haven't. That's why I felt as if it was the sheriffs that took my mother, talked her to the side, persuaded her to see it their way, for they could help me when there was no need of help besides to catch these individuals who jump in late at night. And they took me to that hospital, UBH, for a week. I guess they did it to cover up their asses that I was lying on those 911 calls. He told me, well, you called about 10 times. I'm like, yeah, well, you lasted 2 hours. 2 fucking hours. Instead of asking me when he showed up and arrested me for that 911 silence or abuse, he could have arrested me for that charge and then asked me, well, why is the reasons you called? Well, where did you see those individuals? Let me go look and see if I see footsteps or anything. Nah, he showed up 2 hours later, shoved my face in the dirt, and took me in on an EDO warrant. And that was the week that I came back and I noticed my mother changed. I had a good feeling as if one of these, I don't know, I can't say officers or someone else might have harassed her or persuaded her in a nice way to do certain things. As in to get these two individuals who put this tile. They put these big old clavos on the moldura that goes in the tile behind the moldura though. When it doesn't carry them big old clavos on the moldura. And even the individuals who leveled this trailer. Because recently we leveled the trailer and put the skirting. I know those two individuals weren't the one that I called. His name is Jimenez. No, Israel, off of Calhoun Drive in Horizon. I called him to re-level the trailer. And he told me he's going to do it this way, the right way, which was to level it out. And then he was going to put the panza, which is the black plastic with the insulation, and then put the skirting. My mother went over there to Calhoun Drive in Horizon. That's what she told me. And there was these two individuals who came and did that job, but it wasn't Israel. It wasn't the one I spoke to, Israel. He said he's going to charge me, my mother, $250. And then from there, just to level it, and then from there, he was going to take a look at the panza and the insulation. And I told him, because Israel told me that he does his job by contract. In other words, you pay him up front and then he goes the next day and does the job. These two individuals that came, that my mother went to go speak to, I felt as if it wasn't Israel. It wasn't Israel's worker. They showed up. They leveled the trailer. But I think that for some reason they did it wrong, because my understanding is they were going to throw a little gravel and then put the bricks right. Well, anyways, I didn't tell him anything because I didn't want to tell him how to do his job. But then I asked him about the plastic, the black plastic and the insulation, the panza, because that's the way you do the right steps to do the trailer. And he told me that, no, we don't do that. Those two individuals that showed up told me, no, we don't do that. I'm like, I spoke to Israel, and he says that you guys do that. Told me, we don't do that. I'm like, what the fuck? I spoke to Israel. I know the one I called was going to do it. And then I asked him about the money, because my mother spoke to him. And he told me that they're going to get the money tomorrow. And I told him, I asked him, don't you do it through contract? Doesn't Israel do it through a contract? So nah. So now we don't do it through contract. Like, that's when I knew it wasn't the one I called. And then he put the skirting, and I told my mother not to. But those individuals, as I said, they persuaded her to put that skirting. And I didn't want to tell my mother, and then she gets angry. But I tried telling her. I wanted to go out there and tell those workers to stop and don't put the skirting until we fix it right, because that's the proper steps. You re-level it, put the panza, the insulation, and then the skirting. Now, that certain type of mining gravel or that shiny rock was also thrown under my trailer that I noticed, and I showed it to a deputy. He didn't care, nothing. I even told him if you could take it, check it out, and have a second opinion. He told me it's just another rock. I have no reason to. And then I made a report also just recently. I mean, there's so many fucking things. There's just a lot of things. I made a report of some what looked like a big ass ball and yellow goo, a big ass ball of hair and yellow goo. And these officers, these deputies, they didn't. It was in between the sheetrock and a hole in the wall. And I told him to check it out. He looked down there and said, "It looks like nothing to me." I didn't like the way he was talking to me. I right away told him, "Let me get another deputy's opinion." He hesitated. Eventually, one came. He barely glanced at it. I said, "I know, it doesn't look like no fucking mice. But never did we ever have a mice infestation, and then all of a sudden we did." So I was beginning to think that one of my friends that I let in was throwing things here. Because those individuals, I know two of them, and I know one of them, he believes like in witchcraft, and I was thinking that he might have thrown like a dead animal, try to curse me or something, like a sacrifice animal. Because also in my vent in Strange, I pulled out a lot of shit from down there too, one day. And while my mother is here alone, and I was at the hospital, I came back, and I noticed how the corners of the walls inside, as if they started to open. Like if the walls kind of move and then the doors can't lock them, can't close them right. I think it's because of the trailer unleveling. I was even thinking maybe they left it in a certain way for it to fucking, because I mean, look at this corner. What is it? Right there. See how there's a hole in that corner? It was not like that. The wall was not separating. Look at it. It was not like that before they re-leveled it. And they charged my mother $950 to put the skirting and to re-level it. And I don't even believe that they re-leveled it right. But those individuals, I think they also know or have something to do with the ones that been bothering me. I don't know. But it's just, there's a lot of things. And there's not one thing in my life that I ever had to go through anything like this. As if those individuals wanted to have access to be in my home when we're gone. The ones that put the tile, the ones that re-leveled the trailer. Then my clothes. I noticed how all my clothes starting to have fucking stains. my socks, my pants, like rust. When there's nothing rusty, I just wash my clothes and then all of a sudden I open the cajon and there's something. And then when I would feel those shocks from the feet through my body, like the ones that I said that are electric currents or something, I believe they were even pulling the strings of the nurses in the hospitals when those deputies took me to serve those EDO warrants. Because never in my life have I ever met a nurse that's rude to me or a doctor. I felt like if they were pulling their strings too. Because at one point, when I went and they took me, I was asleep on the hospital bed. And I woke up because a nurse was poking me in the arm. And I didn't sign the consent. I didn't give her no consent to withdraw any blood or bodily fluids from me. And no nurse pokes you with a needle in the arm when you're asleep on the bed. And when I asked for that nurse's name, because I was pissed off, all the other nurses told me, I'll get the name for you. Never did. I kept bothering them. Never did. That's why I know these individuals also can pull the strings of these nurses in hospitals. One of these nights, not too long ago, I fell asleep and I woke up with my left arm hurting like if I had a tetanus shot. Tetanus shot. It was sore. And my arm went real limp with one of those shocks that I got. My arm went real limp. Like if I almost got disabled. And I went over there to the hospital. And I noticed how those at the hospital were acting so fucking strange and rude. As if I know that they're possibly pulling their strings too. But I'm like, I'm not gonna prove anything if I don't tell them. I told her that I'm getting a lot of numbness from my 3 fingers, my thumb and my 3 fingers, these. And then up here, all the way to my elbow. But it's weird because it felt the soreness right here. Like a shot. And it was weird because I fell asleep in my room. And I woke up in a weird position with my arm up. I felt like those individuals that jump in the yard, jumped in the home. And I woke up with my arm all limp. I don't know. These certain individuals, I had to even tell my mother I might have to get a second opinion on this re-leveling of this trailer. Because never did the walls start separating from the corners on the top. It was actually better off before they did that. But it's strange how these individuals, they just don't stop. And I have a friend that got shot by these sheriffs. They started a big investigation on the sheriffs because they were saying that it was a suicide. But Internal Affairs got involved for the simple reason that they were saying that he didn't kill himself. And that's why he barricaded himself for 5 hours and then they They went inside and shot him and dragged him out and lit the back of his head. They dragged him out on the stairs, letting the back of his head hit on the stairs. When I know they could have gone in and hit him with a beanbag or some type of tranquilizer or something. That's why I know there is some deputies that are crooked in their own ways. Like one of those nights that I called, I told one of the officers, don't even get near me. Don't get close to me. Don't talk to me. I didn't feel comfortable with them. I told him I want to speak to internal affairs. That's when I noticed something's wrong because his eyes, you know how they say eyes don't lie? His eyes lit up on fire. Like something was bothering him. Like if he wanted to grab me and strangle me. For no reason. And I don't need to point out names. But I mean, I started feeling as if I can't even call them. Because whoever's doing this to me and my family, they're doing it like in a laughing manner. Wanting me to keep calling 911. And then they show up. And then they say, they ask me, have you taken your medication? I told this last one, there is no reason why you should even ask me when it has nothing to do with the call that I called for. I'm not no threat to nobody and I'm not a threat to myself. Now, when I was at the last EDO warrant that they took me, I lasted 5 weeks. And those doctors seemed really, really fucked up with me because I was exercising my right as a patient in the hospital to refuse medication. Because I told them I'm 34 years old and never in my life have I ever took any type of psychological medication. And I told them, as a matter of fact, I feel better without it. And they wanted to keep me and give me forced medication when I wasn't a threat to myself or a threat to anybody else. And I was reading on the rights, on the laws of them hospitals and forced medication. And I was reading about it and I saw how they can't put you on forced medication unless you're a suicidal, a threat to yourself or a threat to anyone else around you. And I am neither, and I have no history of suicide thoughts. Now, how the fuck those people that have access, like the ones who relevel, the ones who put the tile, I noticed how they wanted access to my home. They stained my clothes when I had no fucking reason why each and every single sock or boxer should be stained with rust. It's like a rust stain. Well, anyways, I'm just pissed off and it makes me feel unsafe at home. And it's easy how they could make one look like if he's not all there when I know I am. That's why I know they were trying to make me look out and see me as if something that I'm far of. There's something else I wanna show you. This video of those individuals who put the tile as if they broke my stairs. They didn't have to. And they put it like this in a way that doesn't look right. And there's all these stains of the ones who put the tile in the front of my home right here. Right there. I thought it was just semen. I thought it was just semen. I thought it was just semen. And I tried calling the officials or the law, and they just pissed me off because they don't fucking. It's like they disrespect me. Not only disrespect me, but my mother. Like they disrespect my family too. And one can't. One can't rely on the law. Who the fuck does he rely on for help? And I heard my neighbors one time in the back. They were like, one of them was screaming one night in the back of my yard. And I believe it was coming from that white trailer. And I called the laws, but I was thinking either they were screaming for a reason or they were doing it on purpose for me to call 911 like always. And it's just strange. I don't know why I was even believing that craziness. Because I woke up with one arm like this. And I didn't go to sleep like that. And I felt as if they gave me a shot on my arm. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. And that's the same arm that I felt real, like, disabled. Like, I never had my arm just drop like that. And I asked the lady at the hospital, and she didn't. I told her to look in the back where I felt there was like a shot, and she didn't see nothing. But I wanted to see if she saw it, which they were. There was a dot, a red dot. Then when I pointed it out to her, around it was white, and she didn't. She said, no, I don't see nothing. That's why I know they also pull the strings of the ones in the hospital. That's why I even had to put some signs up. No trespassing. No, private property. No, I guess I have to get a security camera, which I got one. But I just need the DVD recorder. And the license to carry a concealed weapon is what I want to get too. Because if one can't depend on the law, then at least you can depend on a 357 Magnum or a security camera. And the reason why I believe that I made these videos as a precaution is that I'm sure there's probably some out there right now one of those, I believe it's one of those workers that had access to this home that my mother hired. I think they popped out. They did something to the window, to like more than one, where they bent the little holes where the window moves for them to open it easily when they want to. I noticed that. And I noticed how my floor is way different. Way different. Because it would give me those like an electro shock. My mother's boiler started going off and on. It gave us problems when we never had problems with it. And also our heater started going off and on. Well, anyways, I should have done this video better, but I'm sleepy, tired, and nervous because I know those individuals are probably still outside right now. Because I've heard them even at night. I believe even on top of the roof. That's why I say they're real intelligent and they have some type of training, military or some type of agency. Because I'll hear them and I'll be like, what the fuck? I know there is no pigeons late at night that get on my roof. But I'll hear them. And I know these, if they are, has to do with something of the government. They're real slick and intelligent, and if they're crooked, I was even feeling intuitive intuition of mine deep down within that they might try and show up at any time and paint the scenery, the end of the scenery, the way they want to, and paint it the way they want to harm me or my mother. Because I mean, if they're not jumping in the yard to steal anything, what the fuck are they doing late at night here? Just listening to me, watching me sleep, or my mother. And then my windows are, that liquid that they sprayed, my windows get ugly. I have to go outside and clean them. My pipes too. Recently, they put some type of like a white, I think it's the same liquid, that some white stuff. Like on a certain knob, they put it around, and it started getting rusted quicker. My boiler, the gas pipe, it had like this liquid, I guess they put that rusts quicker. And I just cleaned it out with baking soda and hot water. And then this was brand new. When those workers were here, they left it like that. Bent a little, like they did it on purpose. I tried to pop it off. It was real difficult, like if they did it on purpose. Well, anyways, I'm tired, like right now. Sometimes I'll be up late, smoking, which I would call it my Sounds fucked up, but I gotta say it. I started calling it my jack off hour for the simple reason that it's an artificial, fake ass pleasure, temporary. With any crime, that's what I do. But I'll be late at night and I'll notice. But I also notice because I believe in the afterlife, in the spirit. That's why I know I'm not alone, even though I am, besides my mother. But then they still fucking can scare one because I don't own a fucking pistol. And I know they're there. Oh, and last night, no, what was it, the night before? We have this glass door that's white. I noticed how it was there one day, and then the next night, I took a picture. It wasn't there. I just didn't notice. And then later on, I took another picture, and then I noticed, like if somebody took that door and then they put it back. It's a white door, a glass door. I got from Ring. I noticed how they'll hide you. Went through the back. Could hear the dogs barking. And where's that glass door? Oh yeah, it's right there on the floor. And I believe they even jump in my neighbor's yard and hide in those pinos. Which it isn't right for nobody to feel like that at home. And then I get a thought from get these thoughts from which I believe come from the spirit. And I believe those are also the ones that I believe in that help me. Which is, it's crazy to say and bad, but it's the negative side. A spirit that I never knew nothing of, which is called, I don't care how bad I look or sound, but it's called the satanic spirit of Satan. But it's also the Holy Spirit who guides me and protects me, protects my family, and they work as a team. I felt as in times they give me thoughts that the positives can't say. That's also, I believe, what got my mother worried at one point. Because I told her that I believe that I was having like a spiritual awakening from deep within. And that's something that one can't prove because it's based on faith. That's why I say I don't care how crazy I sound. Doesn't matter. But I do believe in those of the unseen, of the afterlife. And they work in both ways in an amazing way. Yeah, and that negative side, I know, they don't love shit. But I feel as if they're here, like they call them fallen angels, because they fell back down to earth to check those who are in the wrong as me. But my only problem and my biggest and only problem that I've ever had was it started off with marijuana, an addiction. That's why I had to mention my jack off hour, that I call it. It's a temporary personal pleasure that's artificial. But I believe they've been trying to help me to see that it ain't worth it, not even smoking. And that's something I can't tell the officers when I call 911 because they'll definitely tell me that I'm crazy. But that's because they're cold in the heart and they don't believe. That's why I don't even mention it to them. Just in case one of you see my videos, where at first I had a little um, bad problem with them because they were whipping my ass. They were what one would call torture. But they also kept me from doing wrong. And it's late and I still hear the dogs a little barking. I'm gonna cut this video, see if I could go to sleep. Yeah, one night I had to call someone else because of that liquid they put on my roof. I called the higher agency. It was the Homeland Security because I believe that chemical was starting to rust my pipes or the trailer more than usual. And I tried telling one of the deputies that storm is like rain or something, sprinkle. And yeah, when I called them, I looked fucked up because I hadn't slept because of these individuals. And I recorded it. And they did it in a slick way because I'll be on that other side of the trailer. And I'll see it spray, but from that side. If I move to one side, they know where. That's why I know they're real intelligent. And they know what the fuck they're doing. And they could easily, if they wanted to, harm me or my family. But I saw how those in the unseen helped me see not to be scared. Because they are also there, even though when one doesn't believe that he's alone. If one believes he's alone, he's never alone. That's why doctors and priests, scientists, and religion do not mix. Because science goes like with these sheriffs or these deputies, these agents, any official of the law that investigates crimes, do not mix with priests or religious pastors or believers, Christians, because Christians are based on faith, which is the unseen. And doctors need facts, just like the sheriffs. Those that investigate crime need evidence. And at one point I started feeling as if they're doing all these things to me for a fucking reason, when they really don't have none. But I mean, if they're doing it every night, I started feeling as if, started fearing for my life. We live in a mobile home. It's just a fucking thin ass metal and a little bit of insulation and a sheetrock. They could shoot right through it. And all these times I'm walking around all scared because I hear somebody outside. But though not someone, the Spirit. And it's not just the Holy Spirit, but also that negative side that helps me and protects me. But the negative, they tell me that they don't love shit, motherfucker. They give me a thought and a feeling. I just receive thoughts. That's the only way to see it, for any human to see it. I don't say they speak to me, but they give me thoughts. And they tell me that they don't love shit, motherfucker, because I'm still smoking shit. And they're here to stop my shit before I let my life turn into shit. But I'm still working on that personal problem. Besides that, anybody that I've spoken to will tell me, or tell anyone else, that I'm a good person. It's just not good to myself. And I want to say God bless all of my loved ones who passed. And those that I don't know, such as I imagined great ancestors that I didn't have the privilege or honor to meet. Because I know they're around, even though one doesn't see them. I do believe. Like my great-great-grandfather, Claude Weaver, and his wife. And before that, who knows? But I always imagined it as a number, a word of a number that doesn't exist in any dictionary in the world. To describe a number in the Webster's dictionary, it's greater than that. It's greater than that number. You won't find that word that describes that number of how many of us humans that are also spirits exist. That's why, believe it or not, prayer is real powerful. And boy, I haven't prayed in a while. I think I'm gonna cut this video and pray, because obviously something's happening around my mother's home and yard, and they're fucking with our lives. They're fucking with our lives. And it just ain't right. And our home and property. Good night. God bless all of you. I know I look kind of paranoid and scared. If you're not a doctor, don't go fucking saying that I'm nuts. I'm trying to be like the sheriffs that I'm needing a medication. If anything, I'm needing of a female when I have one, which is my mother. I just been caught up in all these things that have been happening around me. And it gets tiring. Because I should be asleep, resting, knowing that nobody's out. They're jumping the fence. Putting up mannequins to scare me and call 911. Shooting up in the air to scare me. And tonight I had to make a report with the state trooper. The only reason why I didn't call 911 or call the sheriff's department, because I already know you're gonna show up. seeing nothing. And there goes another check mark on me, as if I'm seeing things or hearing things that aren't actually there. But it's nobody, none of them, for not one of them to judge me if I'm in my home and I feel there's a threat. I mean, when I sold, I didn't have enemies. Because I do admit, at one point, I did sell a little bit of marijuana, and then I got into a little bit of coke. But it was for nothing for them to be like this. Whether someone's investigating me and my family, or their enemies that I didn't know exist. I feel like if I'm a targeted individual, like if they're targeting me, they could pull the strings at the hospitals, nurses, security at the hospitals. They can also pull the strings on workers that did this releveling on my mother's trailer in this style. And the ones who did the releveling on the tile, they also left the screws on. They didn't do the toilet right. Like if they left the screws unscrewed, and they didn't put the floor level. Not only that, did they smear some like silicone where the screws go. And then I could get a thought or a feeling that to calm down that I'm sounding like a snitch. But when they're out there possibly with weapons, you could call me a scared little bitch, but it's my life. I don't care what you call me a scared little scary ass. It's my life. It's my family's life. And my pets. I noticed how my pets didn't have no scars. They didn't have no problems. And one night when I came back, when I came back the first week, I think it was the first week, when I went to one of them hospitals, I saw how he had a lot of scars on his back. My mother said that it was glue that he got from under the trailer. But I think they cut him. Like they shaved his back and he got a few scars. But anyways, I want to say good night before I keep on talking and sounding more crazy and more paranoid. But I do not give a flying two rats ass, because I know what I see and I know what I hear, and I notice the things that have been happening around this home and property and in my life and in my mother's life. And I know my mother doesn't act like that with me. And I'm just stressing her too much. That's why I gotta find a reason, a way that I can't stress her like that. Because she's asleep at night. She doesn't hear what I see, what I hear and see what I see. But that doesn't mean she should ever doubt me. Because I saw how they could possibly try and make her look like if she's crazy too. When I know I'm not, and I know in my heart that she's not. At one point I felt like if she's scared for her, like she's scared too. That's why she don't say nothing to me. But I'm not gonna go and assume things and say for sure 100% somebody harassed her. But I have a deep feeling as if somebody has and did. And I just heard like a window. We'll see. You wanna go outside, baby? Okay, well, I'm sure I'll put another video real soon. Good night. By the way, I'm James Harris, again from El Paso, Texas. And I know I look kind of sleepy and tired and crazy, but I like to do this, but not really. Go live for the simple fact, as a precaution, because I know these individuals are messing with our lives. Like I said, they're real intelligent. They can really make one look crazy, or really take one's life if they really wanted to. That's why I do these videos as a precaution. Don't give a fuck how crazy I look or how paranoid. But I definitely gonna look into getting a license to carry a concealed weapon. But at least if I have one here at home. Vanity. Vanity. What's wrong, baby? You wanna go outside? Come on. You wanna go outside? Come on. You wanna go outside, baby? Go use the restroom, baby. Hey, get over here. Vanity, get over here. Get over here, Vanity. I think there's possibly an individual. Vanity. Smokey. Who's there? Hey, get over here. Smokey. Get over here. Who's out there? Get over here. Get inside. Smokey. Hey, get over here. Who's there? Come on. Smokey. Get over here. Yeah, and this white door, I noticed how a few days, I mentioned it earlier, as if somebody took it and then brought it back. It's just strange. They continue to do things like that around the home. Smokey, get inside. Smokey. Good, baby. That's another video. And I'll record one soon again, maybe tomorrow. Good night.